Within the general field of systems theory, simply put, systems are viewed as multiple components interacting to self-organize. One kind of interaction that hints at resilience is something called a virtuous cycle, or virtuous feedback loop. Many scholars believe that these virtuous cycles or feedbacks are foundational to resilience thinking. Vicious cycles or feedbacks, on the other hand, produce undesirable fundamental change in the system and move or shift the system to less desirable states, but nevertheless still potentially resilient. And these states have different properties and characteristics. According to Oliveras, if their direction of influence is negative in relation to a desired system state, they are considered vicious cycles. And if their direction is positive, they are known as virtuous cycles. These virtuous and vicious cycles provide a way for us to visualize how civic ecology practices might interact with other processes to help transform a social ecological system. For example, some systems like what we've been referring to as injured or broken places, some broken places may be characterized as experiencing vicious cycles of poverty, leading to crime and environmental degradation, which in turn shut down and close off economic development opportunities. You might have heard of this referred to as a poverty trap or a lock-in trap. However, it's within these broken places that community members sometimes self-organize to restore the injuries and harms to their spaces and places, transforming them into, for example, community gardens and pocket parks, which then can become sites that foster social capital and provide ecosystem services. So these civic ecology practices may be one factor that helps to flip these systems from a vicious cycle of, say, urban decay or rapid destruction due to a shock, to a more virtuous cycle of urban rebirth or recovery and restoration after serious disruption. Though this seems straightforward, two caveats are in order here. First, we must keep in mind that in systems of humans and nature, or social ecological systems, the combination of social, cultural, and economic processes create what Stuart Chapin and Gail Whiteman refer to as webs of positive and negative feedbacks that may be structurally similar to or different from those of ecological systems. So, according to these and other experts, while ecological feedbacks have a strong physical basis, social feedbacks are socially, economically, and culturally mediated and are therefore less predictable. The second caveat: conceptually, the feedback concept, the use of cycles, is central to social ecological systems resilience and other system dynamics approaches. But we have to be careful and acknowledge that heuristic or metaphorical diagrams of loops or loops of important information and feedback and circular causality are imperfect tools for conceptualizing the structure of a complex system and for attempting to communicate any kind of insights from models. Many scientists point out that though useful, causal loop diagrams, such as depictions of feedback loops and cycles, can sometimes be problematic because they can blur distinctions between types of links. So, reinforcing loops, these vicious and virtuous cycles, can be either sources of growth or sources of accelerating collapse. They knock things out of equilibrium and they destabilize the system, which is consistent with resilience as described by Buzz Halling, the scientific thought leader in the area of resilience.